I know.
We're not recording it, right?
Yeah, we are actually.
Oh, of course
we're always recording.
I should have known that by now.
This is a security state. And you're watching us right now. I'm Danny.
I'm Rob.
This is Southern California Comics Weekly Video Update.
No, it's that something you called it last week that I said I was going to remember.
Oh, this Sundown Rundown.
That's it.
I remembered it because it was so bad.
This is the Sundown Rundown. How dare you not call it that? I want you to comment below and call him out on this.
Yes, please do.
Very important.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh yeah, that's
if you want me to call it the Sundown Rundown, which I won't anyway.
Which I will forget to call it as well.
Yes. So we're here to tell you about the latest
and the greatest.
Not necessarily the greatest.
Well, come on.
Well, my stuff's good. I don't know about yours.
This is all your pull.
Oh yeah. Well, not everything. Some of that stuff I just grabbed because it was notable.
Oh.
I'm not gonna say what because we don't want to slam the books that we're trying to sell you guys.
Also, there's got to be a little bit of mystery or you won't watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of these are a mystery, so I don't know if I can segue, but Southern Cross #2 is out. This is Becky Cloonan and Andy Belanger.
The whole plot is a mystery.
Is it?
Yeah, the girl trying to find out what happened to her sister.
I was more hung up on the spaceships. Yeah. Yeah. It's about this girl whose sister died, and she's traveling across the cosmos to find out.
What
She's just hanging out on a ship, and it's cool. Mm-hmm. Just kind of Ridley Scott, working class.
Very kind of standoffish.
Yeah.
The main character, she's somewhat unlikable, but you can understand why given the circumstances. I mean, losing a loved one does sound kind of awful.
And they may as well be on a tanker ship.
Oh yeah.
But in space.
And
the art's really cool. It's the colors are by Lee Luffridge, who does that sort of camera filter effect because everything is tinted a certain color. So
I dig that.
Yeah, really cool looking space comics. What do you got?
That main character wouldn't have the issue of mourning the loss of a dead sister if she had had a little bit of a savior in her life.
I am flabbergasted by that segue.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the whole time you were talking.
Very nice. Smart.
This is a title out from Ted McFarlane, who's apparently decided that being amazing at Spawn isn't enough for his life, and he needs to be known for something else that starts with an S. It apparently involves someone who may or may not be a savior of some sort, and the wacky hijinks that ensue. I'm sure Ted McFarlane, the lesser known McFarlane.
One of them.
I'm sure he doesn't appreciate me calling this a wacky adventure, but he's also never going to see this video.
Yes.
So.
Sort of a take on Cape Books. Mm-hmm. Art's by Clayton Crane, who's got that photorealistic painting
I go back and forth on Clayton because I really, really like his style, but I think at some points I'll be looking at it and my eye will get it's almost so nice that my eye gets distracted, that I'm oh wow, and I'm trying to pick out the little details in the art, which is really good. It's just sometimes I pull out of the story a little bit because I just want to stare.
The renderings are all really impressive.
Yeah. So that's really legit.
Legit, you said?
I said legit.
He wants too legit. Too legit to quit.
Kaijumax!
#1. It is by Xander Cannon. It is about kaiju. They are fighting. The art is super cool and cartoonish. It looks like great fun, and I think everybody should read it.
Really, honestly, I think my life always needs more kaiju, whether it's Pacific Rim or Godzilla or just Kaijumax. I mean, is there anything better than kaiju? I would be willing to say to all the people of Japan that probably the greatest export the Japanese have are kaiju.
Giant monsters.
Love monsters.
Did you segue yourself into a corner there?
Every culture has a distinct and definitive export that we as Americans can appreciate. For the Japanese, it's kaiju. For the Greek, it's their mythology. Case in point, an adaptation of the great Greek myth of Odysseus, Odyssey.
I'm in awe of that segue.
Written by Matt Fraction and drawn just so beautifully, mind-meltingly illustrated by Christian Ward. There are people who don't like his art, but how do you say?
Oh, I see.
But look at those colors. Look at that action.
So
Everything
trippy.
is it's like an acid trip in a comic book, and just the time and the devotion that's gone into this series. It's obvious that the creative team, they did their homework on the Odyssey. They did their homework on the original text. They have crafted such a believable, beautiful world just by changing, you know, a little bit about the mythos, a little bit about, you know, the nature of the gods and stuff. That it's a passion project, and you should be reading it for that alone.
Yeah. And it's so much more than just an adaptation of the Odyssey.
Exactly.
It's so weird and psychedelic that I think anyone who likes bizarro sci-fi stuff should totally be reading that.
Most definitely.
I have no segue, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I can live with that. Jupiter Circle #1 is out. This is sort of a kind of a stopgap series for the Jupiter's Legacy franchise.
Right.
Because Frank Whiteley is not drawing this. This is Wilfredo Torres, who's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, so it's kind of a let's see what the superheroes used to be like kind of thing.
And you know what I think is actually really, really well done about this series is Frank Whiteley, his art is very dynamic. It's very, you know, like everyone recognizes his art.
Yeah.
It's very noteworthy amongst the community. But this is supposed to act as a prequel to Jupiter's Legacy. And the art style is very old school, sort of like newspaper coloring art, kind of like what they did on the recent Flash Gordon. So it sets that tone where it is definitely, you know, it feels like it's happening in the past. The lines are much straighter, everything is black and white. You can drink more during the daytime. You know, all of the good things about the 50s. And
this is sort of like the Minutemen to
exactly
to Jupiter's Legacy's Watchmen.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And accurate.
And there's a giant tentacle monster, just like Watchmen.
Tentacle monster.
That's like a spacey thing, you know, from space.
Because I was thinking tentacles. Well, see, I was going a different path. Tentacles, octopi,
Okay.
the ocean, body of water, Howard the Duck. I feel like it was tenuous at best, but here we are, Howard the Duck, issue #2. It's funny. I have never been a big Howard the Duck fan, but I do like Chip Zdarsky,
Chip Zdarsky.
Zdarsky, and the penciler Joe Quinones. I'm big fans of their individual work, and I saw it and I was like, you know what? Unbeatable Squirrel Girl came out, was really good. You know, Spider-Man came out really good. They're doing this off-the-cuff stuff, so like, let's just Howard the Duck, you, me, drinks, crime, quacks, and I appreciate every minute of it. I've loved it.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's good. And like, it's just, I think it's got that perfect combination of like humor, just nice, like, I want to say almost Marvel House style art, where it's like very cartoony, but not so much that you feel you're reading a children's book.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just, it's one of the, I think, the better series that they put out, because the less Marvel takes themselves seriously, I think the better the comics do.
Yeah, like the old school Marvel books were always not taking themselves seriously.
Oh no, they were so ridiculous.
They were the silliest.
The silliest.
You know what should be silly? It is silly. It is
silly.
also amazing. Transformers versus G.I. Joe. This is #6 of the series, written and drawn by Tom Scioli, who did let's see, Godland, American Barbarian, all sorts of really gonzo stuff. And
I love the new thing is to team up nostalgia with nostalgia.
yeah, the art is crazy. It looks like an art comic.
Yeah.
like super indie looking stuff. Like you would not have expected
the
this.
tinting, the coloring,
Yeah.
the style. Like, and you're right. For such big franchises, you would expect something a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, a little more straightforward.
And instead, you got something that's just completely out of left field. And that's, I think, what's one of its strengths.
Yeah.
Is that it's just such a fun thing to look at.
And there have been a billion other Transformers G.I. Joe crossovers. It's time for something different, and it's
Yeah.
here. This is #6. Took a break for a while, now it's back, and I'm stoked. Oh, you have another thing. I didn't realize.
Stoked about something too. I have a great many favorite characters at Marvel.
Yeah.
I've always loved the Spider characters. But admittedly, most of them kind of keep the same costume forever. Spider-Man changes on a whim whenever he needs to fight one of his new
Take a month off.
energy-based enemies.
Yeah.
But one character whose costume hasn't changed throughout basically her entire existence is Jessica Drew Spider-Woman. And
Yeah.
finally,
Couple tweaks, but
she's gotten a brand new street-level costume, courtesy of Chris Anka, who I met at WonderCon, and was a lovely gentleman.
sweet.
And I think the new direction, that street-level Jessica Drew fighting for, the people well, super villains in this case, but the people nonetheless. Like, it's a nice, again, change of pace for what Marvel's doing.
It's sort of like if you were sad She-Hulk got canceled, you can
Exactly.
jump on this book.
This kind of fills in the little gap. Yeah, Dennis Hopeless, I think, is actually doing a really great job of making, Jessica Drew this, like, very relatable, sassy heroine, exactly like She-Hulk was kind of known for being. And Javier Rodriguez, even though his style isn't exactly similar to, like, who was on She-Hulk?
Javier Polito?
Oh wow, another Javier. Yeah, Polito was on She-Hulk. But they both have sort of that like laid back kind of style.
Yeah.
Where you feel like you're seeing characters in their regular lives. Like it's not, Olivier Coipel or Stuart Immonen where everyone looks like they're dynamic and amazing all the time.
Yeah.
You see She-Hulk just kind of kicking back in a chair and
just chilling.
Same with Spider-Woman, you see her eating some food, It's the little things like that make it that much more of an enjoyable read. Totally.
And if you're worried about jumping in the middle of the series,
that's right. It is issue number.
I started on number 5, and this is number 6, and I felt like it was a new number 1.
It's because 1 to 4 is all Spider-Verse, and 4 is like really one of the most hasty and efficient comics I've ever read. Where it's just Spider-Verse ends. Jessica's like, man, this all sucks. I'm not going to be in the Avengers anymore. I'm going to get a new costume. Look forward to all that in the next issue.
Hilarious.
And then in the next issue, she has a new costume. She's not an Avenger anymore. They were just like, you know what? We're not even going to beat around the bush. This is what's happening.
So basically, you don't have to read anything before number 5.
Not even important.
Amazing.
They might as well have renumbered it.
They really should have.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well. What are you going to do? Numbers.
Yeah.
They're hard.
Yep.
Math.
Well, if you want something difficult to deal with,
yeah,
that's what our next segment is for. Because we're going to talk about the latest from DC Comics.
Convergence. Good old.
Yes.
Good old. Why would you do this? What was your marketing plan? How are people going to know which comics to pick up Convergence?
Yes. We'll talk about that in the next segment.
Yes, indeed.
So let's do that now.
I like that.
Oh, hey, we are back.
Yeah.
And we are here to talk about Convergence. Convergence, the new DC Comics 2-month event.
Yes, DC has decided that they're going to put all of their usual titles on hold so that they can have an event that has no precedent for 2 months.
Well, the thing is, half their office is moving across the country to Burbank.
Right.
So they're like, everyone's way too busy. We can't put out comics for 2 months.
Smoke and mirrors.
So let's have a 2-month event.
And it's smart on many levels. You get a lot of nostalgia, some characters that people were in love with and were very disappointed that they disappeared when the New 52 started, and they get a chance to move unimpeded.
Yeah, this is all like pre-Flashpoint characters.
Yeah, so the general gist of the story is that Brainiac, unbeknownst to everyone, has been saving these worlds right as they were about to be destroyed, and keeping them all on this planet Telos, where he was just observing them, because that's what Brainiac does, the bottled city of Kandor. It's just his thing. He gets off on it. It's weird, but he's a robot.
Yeah.
And so, thanks to something that happens with the mainstream Superman, the embodiment of the planet is like, yo, where's Brainiac? Brainiac's gone. I guess everyone has to die, as robots are often wont to do.
Whoops. So there's a main Convergence series, which is a weekly series. Number 0 and number 1 are already out.
I love DC and their 0 issues.
Yeah, you gotta have that 0 issue.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
Technically, 0's a number, so better utilize it.
An integer.
But then, alongside the main Convergence line, because obviously it's not enough to just know what's happening in the event, we have side titles.
Yeah, all your favorite characters from the pre-New 52 are back.
Most of your favorite characters.
And some you don't like.
And some nobody likes.
Which one would that be?
Who's a fan of the Atom? I mean, I'm a fan of the Atom, but who else is a fan of the Atom?
Oh, we talking Ryan Choi? We talking Ray Palmer?
We
talking Al Pratt?
That is a lovely question. Al Pratt. Who are you? Al Pratt. Why even enter him into this conversation? We're talking Ray Palmer or we're talking
Little Shorty.
We ain't talking Al Pratt.
So what do we got? I already talked about Convergence number 1 and number 2. Let's tell them about the rest.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk to you about the Atom, since nobody wants to hear about it. We'll get it out of the way early. The Atom, and it is starring apparently both Ray Palmer and Choi, whose first name I always forget.
Ryan Choi.
I just call him Choi because Bok Choi.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, things are happening with him. They probably involve getting small and then growing larger.
Yep.
And it looks like he has to fight Deathstroke, which I would put my money on Deathstroke. And on this green fish man who also has to fight.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, why haven't I read this yet?
Looks like fun.
Oh, and then he shows up at the end. Look at that.
Hey, the whole game's
So
here.
casual. Oh, you are alive. How nice. Oh, I can't believe you get to talk about this one.
Yeah. So Batgirl Convergence is one of the other books. It's I think all the forgotten Batgirl characters. You got Stephanie Brown. You got what's her name?
Cassandra Cain.
Cassandra
The
Cain.
best. And Tim Drake before he sucked.
Yeah, and Tim Drake.
New 52 Tim Drake sucks.
Yeah. I don't want nothing to do with that, but one of the cool things about this Convergence thing is that they just hired a bunch of like cool, unappreciated artists to work for a couple months.
It's kind of great.
Like this one's got Rick Leonardi doing it.
It's like people who like, I hate to say it, like had their prime, who were like really well-known artists at the time when these characters were popular. And then, you know, as those characters went out of style, those artists and stuff kind of went out of, not style, but got, you know, did less like mainstream projects.
Like there's no reason why these guys shouldn't still be working.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I think the art is absolutely up to the standards of DC's new house style.
Yeah.
And I don't know why maybe they're trying to weed them back in, trying to get these new readers to appreciate these older, you know, more established.
I think it's just the editor of these Convergence books is using all the artists he can think of, and they're all from that era, you know? What you got?
Oh, I got kind of, I feel the companion book to the one you just showed, because it's once again featuring kind of characters who have been slighted, or I was going to say who haven't appeared in the New 52, but they have appeared in the New 52 and are awful. But you've got the Titans.
Of the teenage variety?
Oh no, of the adult variety.
Oh, that's right.
Once they went off and did their own thing and lost the teen nominator.
Yeah, and became like marginally.
And I gotta say, these are actually three of my favorite old school characters. Donna Troy, who will forever be the most important Wonder character in my life. Starfire, who I just always have had a personal affinity for. I know it's not the costumes. I just like the character situations.
She can be a fun character.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same as Supergirl, only it just so happens she was also a princess and has better abilities. And then Red Arrow, Arsenal, he's had a bit of a rough time.
Yeah. Oh,
As you can see,
this is post Rise of Arsenal.
yeah,
I see.
He doesn't have an arm, and his daughter is dead. Don't let that picture fool you. And this is Arsenal, who has been down on his luck. Bad things are happening. Finally, when the dome goes down around the city he's in, Starfire and Donna Troy are fighting some enemy. He decides to get back into the fray, but there's a twist, of course. But either way, I liked the original versions of these characters. I'm glad to see them back.
Yeah. Superman is the other Convergence title.
I read that one.
Yeah.
It's actually really good.
The Lee Weeks art is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I really like his style. He doesn't get a lot of like cred because he's so like straightforward, I think.
Oh yeah, sorry. Let's go back just a second.
Oh yes.
Roy Wagner.
Ron
Wagner.
Yes.
Ron Wagner did the art for Titans, and it's so fitting. That's, I think, if we could pause on that for really quickly,
Let's go.
The art is so perfect for each book. You never open one up and feel like that person shouldn't be drawing this character. Like the Superman and everyone who appears in this, they look perfect. Like, yeah, show that scene.
Yeah, this is a really great page for that.
That is a phenomenal looking Superman. Like, I really couldn't ask for a better artist. And then on the next one I'm going to show off, Convergence, Nightwing, and Oracle, which sees Barbara back in the chair. And, back in the time period where Dick and Barbara did have a thriving relationship and weren't kicking each other all the time. Well, not all the time.
Not all the time.
The artist on this book is
Jan Duursema, right?
Yes,
Jan
Jan
Dur.
Duursema.
Yeah, that's right.
And again, it's just, it's a little bit more of a hard style than I like. But again, it makes perfect sense for the Gotham that they're living in, for the characters, for the time period. Like, the editor for Convergence did a really solid job on making sure that everyone looked pretty accurate to what you would expect.
Yeah, this is actually the one I'm most excited about. And I just found out about it today. Convergence, Batman and Robin. It's written by Ron Mars. Who cares? But
who cares about Ron Mars?
But
yeah.
The art is by Dennis Cowan and Klaus Janson, so that's dope. Like, they've got such like a scratchy style.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks unlike anyone's sort of house style. It looks super good. I kind of want to check this out now.
And then another one that Danny tried to pawn off on me because he didn't want to talk about it. But joke's on him, I did want to talk about it, even though I gave him a fuss. Is Convergence Speed Force. To be honest, and I know people are gonna get on me about this, but I'm not the biggest Wally West fan. My Flash will always be Barry Allen, and I know it's terrible. I mean, I watched Justice League, and it was Wally West on Justice League, but I don't know what it is, but Barry Allen has always had the most affection in my heart. But I do appreciate Wally West, and the stories that I actually like the most about Wally West are about him and his kids. And I really did like the concept of seeing a character finally be able to have a family and dealing with that. And so I really enjoyed, seeing him with his children, blah, blah, blah. General premise, they've got their powers, they're running around, that's what the Flash does.
Yep.
And,
correct.
The current artist for mainstream Flash, New 52 Flash, is, this guy, Brett Booth is doing the current art. And I think his style works for the Flash. Lean, kind of a sinewy Flash makes sense. Yeah. But the artist for this issue is Tom Grummett?
Tom Grummett.
Tom Grummett. I don't know why I can't say his name. I like that guy. But I think he's another one who he can do Flash momentum without making it look silly.
That's pretty cool.
And I know a lot of art. I think my favorite was to be Francis J. Russell. No, you're in there. Is that sometimes it just looks like a person who's doing this. And sometimes you actually get the dynamic kind of motion.
Yeah, totally.
And like I said, I think that's my favorite thing about this event is seeing these artists coming into the fray again.
Yeah, I agree. And it's going to keep going for the next 8 weeks or something. So
yeah.
Convergence.
I
Pick it up.
believe each series too is supposed to be one of two.
Yeah,
way,
everything's a 2-issue miniseries except for the main Convergence title, which is a weekly.
So if you feel like, is it worth picking up these characters? Well, it's only 2 issues for each storyline, so there's really no reason you shouldn't pick it up. You shouldn't enjoy it. You shouldn't at least see why DC is making you not read your regular stuff for 2 months.
But don't worry, your favorite DC titles will be back.
At
least some of them.
Some of them, that's right.
And your future favorites will pop up.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm stoked.
Totally. Bill and Ted came out this week.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it though.
We didn't talk about
it. That sucks. Oh well. We'll see you guys next week. I'll be here. Will you be here?
For Wednesday, yeah, I'll be here.
Alright. So we'll see you then.
It'll be beautiful.
In the meantime, come by and buy some comics, especially all this Convergence stuff, because we have a lot.
We have a lot.
Later.